free it would require help. He briefly considered trying to drag her, the long hair suggested a woman, out of the river himself. But she was just too far out to reach from where he stood. And to wade into the water with no idea of the depth or the solidity of the ground beneath his feet would be to risk joining her where she floated face down. He estimated she had been at least several hours in the water, probably most of that time, half under the surface. There was no hope of resuscitation. Behind him, in his 4x4, his mobile phone began to ring. They were waiting for him at Crockett's, and probably wondering where the heck he was. He returned to his vehicle, answered the call, it was indeed from the farm, and then phoned the police. He explained the situation, gave the location as precisely as he could, and promised to return to meet them there as soon as he dealt with the situation at the farm. Sod's law meant that by the time he did return, the police had duly arrived, both by land and by river. But of the body, there was no sign at all. Jess Campbell shielded her eyes and wished she'd had the forethought to bring sunglasses. The combined dazzle of the sun and sparks of light dancing on the surface of the water made it difficult to watch what was going on. As she squinted, a dark outline of head and shoulders surfaced briefly, only to disappear again below the glittering surface, like some legendary river sprite. Around her, in the shade where the sun had not touched the ground with its fiery fingers, the overnight frost still spread a thin white blanket, for all the brightness of the day. "No snow yet," said a voice at her shoulder. "We shan't have a white Christmas. Pity. The kids have been hoping for it." A stamping of feet on the hard ground followed the words. D.S. Nugent was cold and restless, and wanted to be back in a centrally heated office, sitting happily before his computer. "I can't stand Christmas," growled another voice. "It costs a fortune, shopping is a nightmare, and it's all over in 48 hours. Why bother?" "You want to shop online if you don't like crowds," retorted Nugent. If only to put a stop to the squabbling, Jess said firmly, "I like Christmas. I like the busy shops, the decorations in the high streets and on some houses. They brighten up a dark, cold time of year." There was a pause after she'd spoken. Then the other man, the modern Scrooge, muttered, "Our neighbour opposite us, he's got a Father Christmas climbing up his chimney. It flashes on and off all evening." His words conjured up a memory for Jess. Those sunspots on the water, glittering like tinsel, recreated the fairy lights draped around the Christmas tree of her childhood. Both she and her brother had loved the twinkling diamonds among the dark green fir needles. Then, one Christmas Eve, while they were watching, there was an audible fizz and phut. The tree lights went out, never to shine again. "Mend it, Daddy," they had pleaded with their father. But he had not been able to fix the problem. The whole necklace of lights was carefully unwound and removed, for safety, although the glass baubles remained hanging from the branches, and the crooked angel still presided wonkily atop. The tree had looked denuded and lifeless. Neither she nor her brother could bear to look at it. It was as though the tree's heart had stopped beating. An elephant in the room, thought Jess. They were not in a room, of course, but out in the open. Yet the thing we do not mention was there all the same. The reason for the pointless discussion that had just taken place was that no one wanted to talk about what was actually going on and the possible outcome. The three of them stood and waited. The water lapped at the sodden ground only a few feet away, and the river's boundary ought to be out there, well away from the road. Only a slight rise in the land meant it had not covered that, too. She wished she'd been able to bring Phil Morton with her, but he had just got married and was on honeymoon skiing in the Tantor Mountains.